This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Farming Simulator 22 Map First Impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at Erlingen. But before that, this video is brought to you by William Chapman and Jonathan. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Erlingen map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for all platforms. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Erlingen, a small village located in Bavaria, somewhere between Erlengrat and Felsbrunn. Let yourself be charmed by this realistic environment in the valley crossed by a river where you will certainly find a place to your liking to settle down. This is my first contribution to Farming Simulator, and I hope you enjoyed discovering it. On this map, you'll find a main farm with a cow barn, free-range cow pasture, as well as a sheep barn. There is a secondary pig farm, as well as a contractor farm and an equine center with stables for 8 horses and a free-ranging pasture for another 8 horses. There are also 3 large greenhouses in their own independent area. This map has 69 fields, 9 meadows, 3 vineyards, and 10 forestry areas with 1 plot with generator. This map includes multiple selling points and custom productions, no sugarcane or cotton, as well as this map includes German license plates. Let's go ahead and load on in. Now this map does have 10 required mods. So in addition to the mods we typically use when we take a look at maps, which are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming, we are going to be using the required mods, which are the Bavarian Farm Pack, Big Storage Hall, Cellular Antenna, Concrete Fences and Gates. Then we have Fenceless Husbandries, Garage for Machines, Metal Fences with Gates, Old Silo Bins, Placeable Farm Pack, and Sheep Barn. Now, I will tell you, if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you will find all the farms are built out exactly how you're going to see them here in new farm mode. The only exception is you do not own any land, nor do you have any starting machinery in those alternate play modes. Now, when we load in for the very first time, we load in town, right outside the large church. Let's go ahead and take a look at the PDA itself. This is a standard size map, and as you can see, we do have a lot of surrounding forestry area. As the description said, this map does not include cotton or sugarcane. Other than that, it does include all of the other standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 22. And take a look at our lands area. You see we start up by owning farmland ID 1, 4, and 95. Now, 95 is where we're going to find our greenhouses. Farmland ID 1, which is our main starting farm, they can be bought for $260,800 in any alternate play mode. Now, in addition to that, this map does have a BGA, which is located right here between Farmland ID 95 and 34, or just south of Field 33. When you buy this particular plot of land, or not buy it, but when you buy the BGA, I should say, this particular plot of land becomes purchased, as well as a vast majority of the rest of this map. Basically, what I would typically call the unbuyable parts of the map suddenly become owned when you buy the BGA itself. Now, as far as alternate farm areas, we have Farmland ID 92. That is going to be our pig farm. That can be bought for $167,000. We have Farmland ID 93. That is the contractor yard. That can be bought for $232,000. Then we have Farmland ID 94. That is the horse area. That can be bought for $138,000. And then lastly, Farmland ID 95, which we own at the start in new farmer mode, we can buy for $56,200 in any alternate play mode. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. The farmland lease screen shows all of the buyable farmlands, how large those farmlands are, if those farmlands include any field, what fields are included, then lastly, how much is that farmland going to cost us. As we can see so far, it looks like our field and farmland numbers are matching up 1 for 1, which is always a good thing to see. Then we're going to break out of those into farmlands that do not have any fields. And then let's see how big each specific field is by taking a look at our field calculator screen. This is once again going to show us the specific sizes of each particular field. Then we can go back and cross-reference the field number with the farmland number, since they are one and the same, and then see how much any one particular field is going to cost by looking at the farmland lease screen. We do have the standard crop counter available to us in Farm Sim 22 on this map. Of course, we are missing cotton and sugarcane, but aside from that, all the other crops have their standard plant and harvest schedules. And taking a look at our prices screen, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game crops that are available to us on this particular map. We also have the ability to sell our eggs, wool, and milk, as well as our silage, hay, straw, and grass. As we move down through our production points, we do indeed have the ability to sell all of our base game productions as well on this particular map. We also have the ability to buy bulk lime. And we also have the ability to sell our stones if we are playing with stones enabled. Now, if we do wish to play with the platinum expansion production items, we will need to put down our own sell point for those, because we do not have the ability to sell any of the platinum expansion production items. Lastly, if you are playing with pumps and hoses, you do have the ability to get rid of your separated manure over at the animal dealer. Start out with a decent listing of starting equipment. All of it is owned. None of it is leased and is all well maintained. We do have some animal areas at the main starting farm that we already own at the start, but we do not have any animals in those pens. This map does include contracts, and we do start out by owning the 3 large greenhouses. And again, they are over at Farmland ID 95. This map also does not have any collectibles. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting fleet. We start out with the Fendt Vario 313 small tractor, the Fendt 724 Vario medium tractor. Then we have the Deucefar Topliner 4090H harvester that is paired up with the Topliner 4090H grain header, as well as the 4090H header trailer. We have our 2017 pickup truck, as well as the Welgar DK115 trailer. We have the Agromaz POV5 XL plow. We have the Horsch Torino 3FX cultivator, as well as the Amazon KG3001 Super Power Harrow. And this particular Power Harrow is often paired up with the Amazon Sentia 3000 Super Seeder to be worked together. We have the Amazon ZATS 3200 Fertilized Spreader, as well as the NovaCat 301 AM ED Pro front mower. We have the Alpine Hit 4.4H tedder, as well as the GA4731 windrower. We have the Faro 4010D forage wagon, and then with the Q5M front loader arms. Then for the front loader, we have a fork with grapple, and then that is going to be our starting fleet. Taking a look at our mods and DLCs, you will see that there is no custom vehicles or implements that are a part of this map. Now, I'm just going to quickly tab over to our pickup truck, and this is going to be our starting farm. Just around here between fields 1, 4, and 5. And I do want to say that while you can sell almost all the buildings at all of the various farm areas, the starting farm, the pig farm, the horse area, the contractor yard, and the greenhouses, there are a few things that you cannot get rid of. This shed is one of those. There's also a shed very similar to this over at the greenhouse area. They remain. And then other items, other deco items that we're going to see kind of scattered around are also going to remain no matter what you do. So we do have our wardrobe trigger. We have our sleep trigger here at the farmhouse step entrance. We have our cow area. We have our slurry. We have our milk. We have our food and straw triggers. We have a water tank to draw water out. We're going to hold 40 cows in this building. Around the back, we have slurry storage. And then we have a kind of free range, not really free range, but a fenced in cow area. It's going to hold 60 cows. Also on this particular farm, we have our water trough, our food trough, and then our milk point for those. Then these particular cows are not going to produce manure, well, because really they don't have a place for straw. We have our manure heap for our cow shed located right there. Over here we have our chickens. So we have our food trigger. We have our egg point. Then we have our chicken buy point. 360 chickens in total. Some nice storage. We have our silo, so we have our dump point and our fill point. Some more nice farm sheds here. Here we have our sheep area. So we have our food trough on the outside of the sheep area. We have a manure heap, which is a little interesting. I want to get these sheep and see if they've been coated to produce manure. It does not show that. So it's a little interesting that we have a manure heap here for the sheep. Will be a little interesting to kind of follow that a little bit. Let myself back in the farm, and we're back in the sheep pen. Here we have our wool spawn point. Remember, this was the gate that we went through initially. We have a workshop trigger located right here. Our fuel point. Then over here we have another silo. So we're a dump, and we have our fill right there. Again, we can sell all the buildings here, but a lot of the decorative bits are going to remain. Especially these bits here associated with the workshop. So while you could go and change all the farms around if you wanted to, it's probably advised not to, because there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to stick around. For example, these stone walls, these fences around cannot be gotten rid of. We can get rid of the gates, but we just can't get rid of the fencing or anything like that. And one thing I didn't show you is here we have our front loader tool. Storage. Let's go ahead and take a look at build mode, because we do have quite a bit of things that are included with the map, as well as being part of the required mods. So here we have several sheds that are included with the map itself. And then several of the required mods have their own sheds. Same is going to hold for the silos. We have various mod silos that are listed as required, and then we have some silos that are also included with the map. Silos, extensions, containers, and then farmhouses. Under production, while the production is basically standard, they are custom in the fact that they are renamed. So we have Schwab Mill, for example, but it is basically going to be, as far as the production goes, the same inputs and outputs as a traditional grain mill. But we do have the ability to put those renamed production items down. We have a modded farmer's market that we can put down. We have a modded variant of the greenhouses. And then we've got a couple cell tellers. We do have some modded animal pens that are, again, part of either the map or the required mods. Under deco, we have some decorative fences that are, again, part of the required mod pack. And then under landscaping, we do have some different ground textures. We have our animal mud. We have our asphalt. We have some cobblestone, some concrete. We have our dirt. We have our forest ground. We have our grass. We have another grass that's mixed with dirt. We have another form of gravel. We have rock. And then we back down to dirt. Plants, we've got a fairly standard listing of FS22 plants. And the same is going to go with our trees. So while these are all fairly standard, I think, FS22 textures, they are all bundled together. I think these are various textures coming from FS22, but coming from one of the three different various starting maps. This map is making use of the Alpine soil map that is a part of the Precision Farming mod. Let's go ahead and see how that Alpine soil map is being applied to the fields. Fields around the perimeter of the map, they all seem to have a combination of loamy sand, sandy loam, and loam. We've got a little bit of silty clay to the west and north of the starting farm, as well as a little bit to the south and west as well. Let's go ahead and get a little bit of altitude and do our traditional flyover of the map, checking out various points of interest. Clearly, this map is using the Erlengrat base map as its basis of operations, given the mountainous scenery distance. Then we have our starting farm below here. To the south, we have our pig area. And when we do get around to the drive around portion of the map, I will be buying all of these additional farm areas. So we can see where all of those triggers are and such. Below we have our carpentry. We have our contractor yard, located over here just to the left of fields 55 and 56. Our farmers market sell point, as well as our lime buy point. We have a grain silo right there. Our sawmill is due north of the starting farm. Overall, the fields are fairly flat here. Farmland in the map itself is fairly flat. Coming into town, we've got a few sell points and production items scattered around. There we have our church and the city circle. The main circle there, that is where we started out at. Here we have our equine area. There are two horse areas. We have the BGA directly in front of us, and then we have the three greenhouses just across the street from the BGA. And as far as selling these greenhouses, we can sell the three greenhouses if we own them, but this shed right here is going to remain. We also own this little plot right across the street, and we can sell this shed. If we buy the BGA, we cannot get rid of the BGA. We can sell it, but it doesn't actually go away. So it's kind of an interesting thing. So the BGA is fixed as you see it here. We have our animal dealer located right here, as well as a couple other productions. And then we have our vehicle shop. So we have our shop trigger around the front. And then I did see our maintenance trigger is going to be located in the rear. As far as our new vehicle spawn point, they appear to be spawning here around the back. Not the largest area for these vehicles to spawn in. Given the fact that we've got some modest sized fields here, you might be wanting to buy some medium to medium large machinery. We do have our dealer trigger located right here with our trigger corner markers. And as far as getting in and out of the shop, we've got a fairly wide area here to get in and out of the shop. So it shouldn't be too hard to get out, at least on this side, with larger machinery as opposed to this side over here. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about our scoring system and how this map is going to be scored. This map has 12 production items built in, so we are going to be giving the map a full point with respect to production being built in or areas set aside for such. We have specifically a BGA, 3 large greenhouses. We have the spinnery, which is located right here, as well as the sawmill, bakery, dairy, oil mill, carpentry, grain mill, and sugar mill. So we have a dump point, interactive icon, and pallet spawn point for our fabric and cotton and wool production. We also have a grain mill, or sorry, a grain sell point located up here, not the grain mill as far as production. That is literally right across the street from our dealer. With respect to the ability to sell our basic crops, animal outputs, and production items, you're also going to be giving the map a full point there as well. While this map is excluding cotton and sugarcane as far as growable crops, which is perfectly valid, the crops that you can grow on the map, you can sell. So here we have our bale sell point. Then on the other side of the building here, we have our animal dealer. Located right there. We have 2 more productions just down the road from the animal dealer. We're going to go under the bridge. And to our right, we have our oil mill. We have our dump point. We have our pallet spawn point. And we should have our interactive point right there. Then we have our grain mill over here to the left. We have our dump point, interactive point, and pallet spawn point there. Make our way up to this level. So we come over here to our sugar mill. So we have our dump point. We find our interactive point and pallet spawn point on the other side of the building. Then the road off that distance is going to run you out of town, out of the map. We do have a bit of a forest over there as well. Let's double back down the hill. And make our way over to the pig farm. As I mentioned, we've already bought all of the other farm areas. And speaking of the farm areas, with respect to can the farms be customizable, we're going to be giving the map a half a point there because of the fact that there's just so much kind of little residual decorative elements around all of these farms that are not able to be gotten rid of. So we've got a small 3-bay shed there, an open shed. We have our farmhouse. Now, none of these farmhouses have sleep triggers other than the main starting farm. We have our silo. Fuel point. We have a implement shed. 3-bay garage over there. You see our manure heap. Then we have our pig area. So we have our food dump. We have our delivery point for our sheep. Oh, sorry, our pigs. 270 pigs in this building. Then on the other side, we have our slurry point. Now, right across the street from the pig area, we've got some vines, some vineyards. We have, I think, 3 structured grape areas here, grape vineyards. Across the street from the pigs. I have to say, for this being the map author's first map, they have done a really, really good job. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong when I'm talking about things that you can't do, can't sell, can't get rid of at the main farms. Those are little things. And if you are someone who doesn't customize your farms, then it will never matter to you. If you're someone that wants to change your farm around, well, then it's going to be important to understand those things. And you may want to think second about maybe playing this map in its current state because of the fact that you're not going to be able to do kind of what you want to do, which is change things up. So here we have our carpentry. So base game carpentry building, just kind of a different sign, renamed. We've got our interactive icon there, our dump point, our wood cell trigger, and our pallet spawn point for our furniture. Now, it is possible that these production items, these production facilities, produce at a different rate than base game, but I can tell you the inputs and outputs all correspond with base game inputs and outputs. So here we have our contractor yard. You could also kind of call this an industrial arable farm, if you will. So we have the large base game contractor building. We have a large silo complex with a few kind of silo extensions. Some more implement and shed storage in this building. And then vastly more storage inside of this shed. As well as a maintenance trigger. We have fuel, and then we have another 3-bay building there. We have a sell point and a lime bulk buy point just north of the contractor yard. So that is located right here. Then we have another grain sell point, a large grain silo. Erlengrat, that direction. So we have another large grain silo sell point located right here. I think it's interesting how we have, for the most part, Smaller fields are kind of to the interior of the map. Larger fields are to the exterior of the map. Does lead the player into pretty much being able to start small and expand. So you start small, your fields are closer to the main farms, closer to the sell points, and as you expand, as you get more money and can buy these larger fields, you can kind of spread out and extend your presence. To the north, we have our sawmill. So we have our plank spawn point, we have our wood cell trigger, we have our dump point for our logs, we have our interactive icon, and we have our pickup point for our wood chips. Let's make our way back toward the town. I do like to see these new map authors coming into the game. It's always good when we see kind of new creative energies. Kind of reinvigorate things. So this is where we started out at. We have our bakery. Right here, we have our interactive icon, a dump point and pallet point around the back. And then just up the street from the bakery, we have our restaurant sell point. It's located right here, around the back. Now, with respect to buildings where appropriate are using the new texturing technique, yes, they are. These buildings are all using the new texturing technique, using the new windowing technique, which is really nice to see. Really like these kind of boxed 3D windows. Gives a sense of depth going on here. Right, we didn't have that back in FS19, other than Erlengrat. We had it on Erlengrat, but before that, we really didn't. Let's make our way over here to our horse area. And the horse area has two specific areas for your horses. One inside the shed here, then one open free range. Kind of open pasture area. So we have a food dump inside the building. It's just standard FS22 base area. 8 horses in this area. Then we have the open pasture right beside it for another 8. With our water, food. Now this is because it's one of those free range pastures, right? You activate the grid so you can see where the animal nav mesh is, and then you can build out your fences around that. I'm not really sure why we have a manure heap, because horses typically don't produce manure. Maybe it's simply a deco element. We have a water point. Have a nice bale shed or implement shed. Really well done map borders, right? Let's make our way down to the... let's turn around. We gotta go over here. couple more things to take a look at. How about our dairy and our fuel point? Right, we need to know where to get our diesel. So we have our fuel point across the street there. And we have our dairy located right here. So we have an interactive icon at the front door, dump point and pallet point around the back, as we have all grown to kind of expect. We have another grain sell point over here on our left. Oh, sorry, that's the one we've already looked at. What we need to do is shoot over this way to get to the... Yeah, we need a double back. We need a double back. BGA, and then we have the greenhouses. So the BGA itself, and as I said during the flyover portion, if you buy the BGA, which you can do right here, for $435,000, now that we own the biogas plant, I mentioned earlier on in the video that when you buy the BGA, which is right here, then you suddenly own the unbuyable portions of the map, the town area, the various other sell points and such. In addition, you cannot sell the BGA now that you own it. It's basically going to come up and say that you can sell it. It's going to act like you can sell it, but it's going to stick around. See, we just sold it, but it's still there. So we have our dump point for a slurry, for a digestate. Pickup point there. We have our stone crusher as well as two three-sided silage bunkers. And then across the street from that, we have our greenhouses. And these we own at the start in new farmer mode. And we can sell the greenhouses. This is the shed we can't get rid of. So those are located right here. So you could sell those greenhouses to make this kind of a secondary farm. I like that we have the little 3-bay garage right across the street from that as well. The last scoring metric is going to be player and interactive areas being clearly marked. And I'm going to go ahead and give the map a full point there as well. So that's going to give this map a score of 4.5 out of 5, where we only really took off points because if you try to sell a lot of the buildings down at the main farm and the secondary farm areas like the pig farm and the contractor area, the deco elements are going to remain. They will not go away. You can't get rid of them unless you dive into Giants Editor, and that is something that really not everybody is skilled and can do. So very, very respectable score, especially for being this map author's maiden map release over at the Giants Mod Hub for all platforms. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What do you think of the map? Are you going to give it a go? Are you going to give it a playthrough? Are you going to go small? Are you going to go big? Which particular farm are you looking to start out at? And until next time, happy farming.